And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Ryan Metzler.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan Metzler here again, and today we're going to take a look at a two-player abstract called Fibonacci. Now, this has nothing to do with the Fibonacci sequence 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. Has nothing to do with that. This is going to be a two-player abstract in which you're moving around different types of pieces in order to try and completely surround your opponent's main piece. Real quick, we'll take a look at what's inside this box and how the game plays, and then we'll come back here and we'll get my final thoughts on Fibonacci. So here you can see the setup for Fibonacci, and this is a two-player abstract in which players are going to be moving different pieces around the board in order to try and surround their opponent's main piece, which looks like this radioactive symbol sign here. This is the only piece that cannot move on its own. Now, you're going to move pieces by taking actions, and at the beginning of the game, each player is going to have a different number of actions. The first player will get 1, and then the second player will get 2. The first player again will get 3, until you count up to 6 in this manner, at which point everyone will get 6 actions on their turn. An action is simply moving a piece, and let's say we start with red. You're going to have 3 different types of pieces. You have support pieces, you have strike pieces, and you have your main piece. All of these pieces move in the same way, except for the main piece, which can't move at all, but taking a movement action allows you to move one piece to any of its adjacent spots, or if it's a part of a connected group of like pieces, you can move that piece to anywhere along that connected group. So, for example, I could move this piece to any of these spaces around this connected group, and I could even move it to my own my own main piece to switch positions with my main piece. But let's say I move it up to here, and that's my action. And now green gets 2 actions, and they're going to move likewise. They're going to move 2 pieces along the group to start moving towards my main piece. Now, you also have these support pieces, and they move in the same way, and it's red's turn now. So maybe they're going to move pieces along this group in order to try and extend out towards green. And this is important because eventually you're going to get into a spot where you're going to be interacting. And now it's green's turn. And green maybe extends out further a little bit here. They move this piece here, and they move these pieces up to get closer to red. But now it's red's turn, and they're going to try and separate this group and also try and get to a position where they can get their pieces closer to their opponent. The objective being to get your strike pieces next to your opponent's main piece. So right now they're not doing so hot in that manner. They want to get these strike pieces up there. And so they're going to be trying to do that by moving them up a little bit more, so they get 5 moves this time, 2, 3. At this point, they can actually start moving pieces that replace their opponent's pieces. So if they move this piece all the way along this group to the spot held by green strike piece, they would replace green strike piece, which would go all the way back to the end. Now this isn't a great move, because you can see here, we've now got our piece with a green strike piece next to it, and green is 1/6 technically of the way towards winning the game, but in this case, if they completely surrounded our piece, there's nothing we could do. But in addition to this, if they got their green piece next to our main piece, we would lose an action on future turns. So if we were supposed to have 6, we would now only have 5 because the strike piece is next to our piece. We can remedy this by moving one of our pieces all the way back to swap with our start piece. Now, we still have one piece next to it, but it's no longer blocked in that corner. A little bit easier to move out and get around. The objective here, as I said, is to get all 6 of your strike pieces next to your opponent's piece through clever maneuvering, swapping of pieces. So maybe red moves this piece here, and they can swap this out to there. They can move this up to here, and they'll start moving these pieces to get closer and closer to their opponent's piece until they surround their opponent with all 6 strike pieces, winning the game. Well, there you have it. That is Fibonacci. This game has well, there's a lot to say about it, but not so much that I can really explain the game very well. And you might have gotten that from my description. It's a hard game to describe because you have 3 different types of pieces, but only 2 of your pieces really have a specific use. You have your strike pieces, which are used to surround your opponent's piece, and you have your main piece, which you're trying to protect. Your support pieces really don't have a real function in the game except for to screw with your opponent's pieces by moving them around, getting in the way, and just generally causing chaos and allowing you to transport pieces from one place to the other, which can also be done with the strike pieces. So they're kind of a neutral type of piece with no direct function, but can be multi-use in terms of moving stuff around. The game is not that easy in terms of strategy. I enjoy it quite a bit because it's not easy, but with a couple games in, we're not entirely sure what the optimal strategy for the game is. It's obvious that you need to move from one side of the board to the other in order to get closer to your opponent, but the best way of doing so is not always clear, and it involves a lot of moving pieces from one end of a group to another and separating your opponent's pieces from their groups so that they can't do the same thing. Overall, I can say that I enjoy Fibonacci quite a bit. I think it's something that we're going to hold on to for a while as abstract lovers, and it's a game that I can definitely suggest you check out. I can't really explain the strategy to you, but I know that I like it.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.